You and I talked offline a while back about what's going on in trends in Google search. I think it's a pretty timely item to go through. So I'd like to get into that a little bit. So
let's get into it.
Let me ask you. So again, I'm a complete layman when it comes to online presence, digital marketing, so on and so forth. And I know that we have Google local search. We've got guys focusing on SEO optimization, all of this sort of stuff. But I guess today, let's just focus really on trends in Google's search business and what you're seeing coming out now in real time.
Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. We've talked a lot offline, Paul. I don't believe in coincidences. And what's crazy is the strategies that we built out for SEO were a little bit ahead of the curve for what dropped from that data dump. Also, what's dropped out from Google officially in terms of the things that they're changing moving forward. And it's all kind of coalescing. And so the interesting thing is even the last couple of episodes that we've done together, this builds upon that inadvertently. We didn't plan anything or time anything, but it's funny how it's all kind of stacking up. I think it's really interesting. So I'm excited to get into it with you.
Cool.
Yep.
So what are some things we might want to be aware of?
I think the first thing to think about in terms of the things that Google is focusing on is it's focusing on expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness to help decide which pages and content it's going to elevate and which pages and content it's going to lower. These are like three big factors. This is gonna, if you're watching and you're kind of tracking with us, this is an episode where you want to get out a pen and write some stuff down. Okay, that first acronym is EAT: expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. These are things that Google is thinking about when it thinks about the value of your content, because Google's a machine, it's a monster, okay? What it wants to do is get users the best information possible as quickly as possible, because that's how Google makes money. So that's kind of an emphasis for Google. That there's some aspects of that aren't really new. Some of it is, but then the other thing that it's really starting to turn a corner on is user experience on your sites in particular, which there's a lot to get into there. But what is it like when a user gets to your business and does any type of interaction? Those are 4 metrics that it's using to determine, is this good content? Is this bad content? Is it relevant? Is it not? Do we need to move on to the next one? So yeah, those are the things.
So what do you mean by that? It actually watches the trajectory of a user who comes onto the website. Do they continue to click, follow different links, or do they just bounce off of the website immediately?
Yeah.
Is that what Google's looking at?
That's performance, right? What's happening when we get to Paul's service business landing page, right? Is it smooth? Is the user getting the information they need and getting to a conversion action in a timely way? Or are they bouncing around all over the website and then hopping out and looking for something else?
Okay.
These are metrics that inform, because Google's looking to create conversions for businesses like mine, right? So these are metrics that it uses to determine, hey, we want to get Paul's home service business up there more because the user experience is slick, it's solid, people are getting to a conversion action quickly, and we can rely on this for future business for Google, right? As opposed to, clunking around and we didn't find what we need here, we're going to go shop someplace else. The other thing I think that's really important is that expertise and authoritativeness. We've been talking about content building a lot, me and you, right?
Yep.
Storytelling, tutorial videos, loading your stuff up to YouTube, getting on TikTok, all these kinds of things. These pieces of content are becoming more important to Google as we go forward in time, in terms of determining whether or not your business is important for the user. So creating content that is shows that you are a figure, an expert in your field, but also an authority in your field, is helping Google remember in the future, hey, Paul's business is where it's at. We know when we offer Paul's business to a user, they get to a conversion action. Let's do that more, right?
Okay.
Or there's not a lot here for Google to work with, right? There's not a lot of content. It's not really relevant to the user. The user's leaving the site. Let's push this one down and focus on a different one, right?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's what's happening in big brushstrokes.
When you think about what Google's doing now, how is the rise of AI really impacting the Google search algorithms?
Yeah, AI and search algorithms. Google is learning how we speak. I think that's okay. Okay, first, before we go any further, I got a friend. He follows us on LinkedIn. Matthew Millantoni, shout out. He's my Google friend. Okay.
Okay.
I've made this friend by virtue of what we do. I love Matthew Millantoni. Big shout out to that guy. Very high up there in Google. Matthew, fact check what I'm saying in real time and give us comments and feedback, right? As we're going, because it's dense. This episode is going to be dense. But Google is using AI to determine how we speak and the context of how we speak and the intent of how we speak to determine what kind of content it's going to be giving to the user. So there are two acronyms, and I really do hope I get these right. There's BERT, B-E-R-T, and MUM, M-U-M. These are two tools that Google uses to study our languages and the intent of our language. So BERT is bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. Okay. Bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. And MUM is a lot less complicated. It's multitask unified model, right?
Okay.
So these are two AI tools that Google studies over and over and over again, the more that we talk to our devices to determine what it is that we need. Because Google is a business that is trying to get information to people who will make a conversion action. They'll shop online, they'll buy a service, they'll make a click, they'll do a conversion, they'll all that stuff, right? And more and more of us are using speech to get the things that we're looking for, right? Whether that's Siri, whether that's Alexa, any of those devices that do these things. I do it all the time, especially when I'm driving. Hey, Siri, I need an Italian restaurant. Help me, right?
Yep.
And my phone just gave me
An Italian restaurant
of Italian restaurants near me.
Yep.
So more and more people are relying on that. And Google right now, the trend is Google is using AI to study our speech, how we speak, and the intent of our speech to get us what we need, right? And the reason that this is important is because really old school. And it's not really old school. This makes me sound old, but it's not that old.
Yeah.
Really old school digital marketing relied on keywords specifically that helped us get businesses, ads, and information and website up in front of a user, right? Well, now we have to think about speech and intent behind how we speak to inform how companies like mine build ads and build content on your website to get it in front of the user. So we're kind of leaving, it's the difference between going from old school yellow pages to traditional like Google digital marketing, right? That's the jump that's being made with traditional digital marketing to Google using AI. It's studying our speech. It's studying how and why we want to make decisions, right? And then companies like mine have to use this knowledge to build out our ads for companies in the service space, for example, but also build out the content that exists on the website to get that up in front of the user, because Google's relying on that more and more and more as we go forward.
So what does this mean then for mobile? You're talking about talk to Google. We're obviously doing that on our phones, probably more so than our desktops. So, what does this mean for mobile versus the old school way of me being on my desktop?
That's exactly right. So it's been a trend, and digital marketing companies like mine have seen it for the longest, right? Most of us are like staring at our phones all day long. Do you ever get that report card for how long you spend your screen time report card on your phone?
I hate to see it. Yes.
Mine is miserable. Okay. It's terrible. Every time it reminds me how much I'm looking at this device. Companies need to make sure that the efficiency of their mobile version of their site matches the desktop version of their site, because more and more, especially in the future, Google is prioritizing it. It's something like north of 70% of users find the content that they're looking for on their mobile device, right? That's a huge margin. a smaller percent is using the desktop to get what they need, right? And so companies really do need to prioritize the efficiency, the effectiveness, the user experience for the mobile versions of their websites, and it has to match what they're doing on desktop. This like one-to-one match between mobile version of the website and desktop match of the website increase the quality score of your website. When it's disproportionate, when a desktop performs better than mobile or vice versa, it negatively impacts your quality score of your site and it moves your website down on the list, right? So our goal is to get Paul's website, Paul's service website up on the list. We need the desktop version and the mobile version to match because that's what Google cares about right now and is prioritizing as it goes forward. If these two things are misaligned, it's going to move Paul's website down on search in search consoles. So it's really important to have a really high performing mobile website.
So let me ask you this then. You were talking about talking to Google, which I assumed you meant speaking. We're talking a lot about mobile search. So how does voice search, I mean, is there a particular flavor to, how do I say this, Matt? You know, if I'm picking up my phone and I'm talking to Google, looking for things, hey, I need a pest control company or I need a HVAC company. For an Italian restaurant, for example. I'm in Florence, so I just say restaurant, they're all over, right?
Restaurant, they're all over.
But I mean, are there nuances between voice search and me just going into Google right now and
how you type it in?
Yeah, I mean, are there any nuances there, or is it the same? Is there a way to optimize for one versus the other? And how many people really actually use voice?
I think it's similar, but I think the reason Google doesn't make any decision arbitrarily, right? It is it's a massive money-making machine, okay? It's making this transition because there's a trend that more people are using speech, and speech is a little bit different than what we type in directly because speech changes over time. So imagine there's 100 people and they're all searching for the same thing. Google is studying that data from those 100 people to define the commonalities between them, the differences between them, and how do I reach the intent for each one of these searchers. And of the 100, let's say 80 of them fit this particular formula. That's the formula that Google's going to go with to adjust how it thinks about user intent going forward, right?
Gotcha.
So speech is constantly evolving, and what we type, it's not necessarily that it's evolving less, but people are using search consoles in that way less as time progresses, which is why Google is prioritizing speech and what its AI is learning from speech over keywords, which is what we type into the search query to get what we're looking for.
So are there any are there any sort of local SEO trends that are emerging now that businesses can take advantage of? Because right now, everything we're talking about right now, I'm thinking about kind of local SEO, right? I'm looking for an Italian restaurant or an HVAC company, this, that, or the other.
Something close to you.
Yes. Yep. So what are some emerging trends we can take advantage of?
Oh man, this one's big. So with all of our partners, I sent out all of our clients, I sent out a big email yesterday, trying to keep them up to speed. Google's changing a lot of things internally right now, and it's even hard for digital marketing companies to keep up with, quite frankly.
Yep.
And so how lay people or business owners are keeping up with this or think that they are, I have no idea, because it's a full-time job, definitely for us. But one of the things that I love this, it's important for a business like mine right now that Google is doing, is it's making a direct connection between Matthew Milantoni. I know you're listening. Check this out, man. Fact check me. It's making a direct link between, you and I talk about this all the time, organic search or local search, SEO or SEO, and paid search. It's finally tying these two things together. And businesses that capitalize on tying these two things together are going to excel going forward in big ways. I'll explain the biggest way here in a second. But businesses that do not, that still treat these things distinctly, still pick one thing over the other. I'm going to focus on SEO and local SEO, or I'm going to focus on paid search. They are going to fall behind faster and faster, very fast. And I'll tell you why. Google has finally changed up the LSA, that's local service ads, the function of LSA and its connection to your Google My Business profile. So Paul, we're using Paul's service industry, right? Paul's Florentine service industry. Okay.
Yep.
Paul set up his Google page. He's got plenty of reviews. That's awesome. But he may not be getting content updated on that local service page or business profile often, right? He's not getting content that's being built by his digital marketing team over to that page to update it regularly, right?
Yep.
So the quality of that Google business profile is lessening over time, right? What's happening is now LSA ads rolling out, started this month. LSA ads are going to start appearing in the map. And what shows up on the map? Your Google business profile, right? And so when somebody's searching, not only will LSA ads be on that top row, but they're going to start populating inside the map as well. And only companies that are prioritizing local SEO and updating their Google business profile regularly are going to receive the benefit from this, right? That's a lot more conversions that are happening in places that are pertinent. Like if I were to search, ask you know who down there on the floor to search for HVAC company near me, a company that is updating their business profile, all of their stuff is neat and orderly and in line. It is full of good content that's keyword specific, right? And it's regularly being updated on a cadence, right? And I'm scrolling down my phone like all of us do. I'm going to pass the local service ads on top, and I'm going to see on the map, if I click on the map, hey, these guys are a couple miles up and down the road. Oh, what do you know? That's a local service ad too. So that's a new feature that Google's going to be rolling out, is in the process of rolling out. They're moving the LSA ads, not just from the top, but they are moving it down into the map as well. And only companies that realize the connection between SEO and local SEO and working on that constantly and updating their Google business profile and running paid search are going to receive the full effect of what that will mean in terms of how many conversions they'll get on page one of Google. So it's a big deal. It's a game changer for sure.
When you talk about updating the business profile, what sort of updates is that, for example?
So what we do for our partners, I won't talk about the cadence because I'm talking to a lot of people that aren't our partners, for example, and I'm sure people that don't like us are tuning in as well too. What we do for our partners is we create a body of content once a month, a lot of content that goes onto their site. This content is informed, we've talked about it in the past, by the Google Keyword Planner, and it's studying trailing 12 month of data worth of keywords and what's going on over there in Florence during this month, right?
Yep.
So it tells us, according to this time last year, what was searched the most. So we build content according to what was searched the most in your area last year, right? Then what we do is we take that content, we load it to the website, we do all the alt tags, the metadata, blah, 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 right? And we re-index the site. That's really important. And then what happens in terms of the business profile is on a regular cadence, we're taking that content that's informed by good keyword research and we're publishing it to your business profile. So that's updating your map and that's updating your business profile. And it's telling Google, hey, this profile is on top of their shit, right? These keywords are important. This user just searched this. So let's make sure that we're offering the business profile on the map. And now that local service ads are getting in the mix on the map, let's make sure that LSA is also offered on the map as well. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense, actually. So you're saying at bare minimum, you should be doing this on a weekly basis with your business profile.
Definitely.
Okay.
100%. And people just think about, wow, especially in the service industry, God bless us. I love us. I was born and raised in the service industries. A lot of owner operators will think I can just do this stuff myself. It's got to be informed by keyword research. It's got to have the alt tags, the metadata, all the stuff that needs to go in on the back end of every site. And it's got to be at a regular cadence to your business profile. It's a lot of work that we do for our partners that they think they can do it themselves sometimes. And it cracks me out. Is
there a place on the business profile for video?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely need to be. So the business profile, think of it like it's a little bit of a spider web, right? You can load all kinds of links to your business profile, even if it's coming in from YouTube. And the bigger you make that spider web, the more Google has to grab onto to find Paul's business and to stick it on that map, or to stick it in the LSA ad, or to stick it in the paid search ad, or to pop that video that Paul just made talking about how to, clean out your condensation line on your HVAC unit. or to when is the right season to fertilize your Kentucky fescue, right? When Paul made that video and he posted it up on YouTube, you need to tie that down into your business profile as well. So Google's like, hey, lots of good content here, get it up to the user. Video becomes really important because when you add that video content, you're not only adding to your authoritativeness, your expertise in your field, especially if you've got your descriptions all lined out and all that kind of stuff, but your index on your website changes, your SERPs change. That's your search engine result pages, right? Search engine result pages. These are the pages that Google crawls through on your website to re-understand who your website is, because your website's always growing and evolving and changing over time. You picked up a new service area, you're selling a new product, you open up a new branch office, your staff pages change. Google crawls through your pages regularly. Those are your index pages, right? And so those SERPs get re-understood by Google, and it's giving Google something more to grab to get up to the user. So it is always an advantage to have video content regularly updated and added to your website, whether that's from YouTube or whether you're loading it manually into your website, like embedding it into your website. It's a great idea.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, the majority of the folks with us today run route-based service businesses. So obviously this is extreme. I mean, this should be core for everyone watching this. Now, what about for somebody like us here at Potomac? We don't have a local business. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm over here I just got in from Asia. I'm having meetings this week in Italy. So we're kind of all over the place. If somebody's searching for Potomac, which is based in Puerto Rico, here in Italy, probably not going to see the business profile, maybe, I don't know. But is it far less important for guys like us, or should we be focused on our business profile? And should we be attaching stuff to it?
So first of all, disclaimer, we don't handle your stuff.
That's very true.
If somebody's looking into this and like, Matt Rogers doesn't know what they're talking about, look at this. Well, I don't do that, okay?
Yeah.
But your strategy does need to be a little different. For national or global agencies, your strategy has to be very much more zoomed out. I would say you really do need to focus on keyword content specific to your website, right? And similar to what you do regularly, which is great in terms of press releases for the companies that you guys are doing business with all over the world. Every time you have those press releases, for example, and that content is loaded to your website as well, those press releases are all categorized. It's going to help Google realize over and over and over again that this is larger than just in Puerto Rico, right?
Yep.
This is larger than just Florence. This is larger than just North Carolina. Yep. And so it's going to start to expand the breadth of your search over time. So it is a different strategy. For national companies, they have an opportunity to focus on local SEO at the platform level. But for a company like yours, for example, keyword research is really important. Press releases are really important. Content on your website is really important. And that's going to help people find you more and more.
Gotcha. Okay. Matt, you talk about this rapidly changing environment for Google search. What are some of the latest, greatest tools or features that we may not know about in Google that businesses can start using to stay ahead of the competition?
Well, we touched on it a little bit, right? If you want to stay ahead of competition, you're going to have to address two elephants in the room that we've talked about. And I think this is a perfect bookend to the video. The first thing you're going to need to wrestle with is the impact that AI has on us as individuals, and the impact that AI has and how Google is using AI. Google is using AI to help with how we speak and the intent of our speech, right? So you need to switch how you think about the content that you're creating on your site and on your business profile, and the content that you're putting up in YouTube and all that kind of stuff. You need to think about the content that you create from that perspective. It is about keyword research, right? But it's also about the intent of how people speak and think. And that's what Google is using AI for. Google's taking the information that it's learning from AI, how we speak, how we talk to our phones, how we talk to our devices to get what we want, so it can get better at getting people what they want. And that has to inform how a business owner creates content. It has to inform how companies like mine create content on behalf of our business owner. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing that business owners really have to do, they will get smoked. I'm going to go into this a little bit more on a video for Lizard, and I'm going to try to put some stuff out on TikTok. I'm definitely talking to my partners about it, or my clients about it. But the connection between SEO and local SEO and paid search has all but been tethered together. You can't distinguish one from the other anymore and expect good results from one or the other, right? You've got to start looking at Google holistically. You've got to start thinking about SEO and local SEO as something that informs how well your paid search does, and vice versa, right? When you are doing both of these things together, you're going to drastically take big steps in front of your competitors that are not doing that, right? Your competitors that are like, well, we don't want to focus on this. There's only one organic page spot on page 1 of Google, right? People who think like that are going to get shoved to the bottom of the list moving forward, as companies that are taking full effect of the relationship between the two excel. Because specifically, we talked about it a little bit earlier, those local service ads are not just going to be on the top row of Google anymore. Underneath your videos, which hopefully you're making, those local service ads are going to start showing up on the map as well. And they show up on the map because you're doing local SEO and you are constantly optimizing and improving upon your Google business profile. So if a company can start to kind of grasp and wrestle with those two ideas, they're going to make big strides out in front of their competition. And it's the people that don't do that that are really going to start to take a backseat. Those are the people, I mean, think back to how you met me first, right? Those are the people that are still relying on like like Angie's List and like the yellow pages, right?
Yep.
Those are people that are going to rely on radio commercials for their local radio station until they, sell their business, and it's just not going to grow. So,
well, if you take 100 prospects that reach out to you, or 100 people that reach out to Lizard off the street, I mean, how many of those 100 businesses are actually doing any of this sort of stuff on their own? I mean, obviously, maybe it's adverse selection because they're reaching out to you for a reason, but I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, you talk to people every day. I mean, are there guys doing this on their own, right? Correctly?
I'm involved in some communities where some business owners get real, and I get it. I mean, I get it. They get real cocky that they can do this on their own, but eventually there's going to have to be a give and take, right? Eventually you're either going to focus on the business itself and let a digital marketing company who is expert in this area provide you an expertise so you can focus on your business and make it bigger, or you're going to spend a lot of time doing what me and my entire team have been doing over the past 2 weeks, which is just try to stay in front of some of the things that have changed about Google since July 1st, right? Like it's a full time to stay out in front of this monster.
Yeah.
And AI is only kind of pushing the pedal down even further. So I would say the ratio as it stands right now is something like 60-40. 40% of the people I talk to are like, oh, we do this part, you just focus on this other part. And 60% are like, no, we are going to focus on our business. Can you take this and do the thing for us? And so that's probably the ratio. I would say that's a pretty safe ratio, 60-40.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been hugely helpful. I appreciate you going through the latest and greatest here in Google search trends,
Oh, yeah.
Matt.
Absolutely.